looked in there changeဆိုတာရှိတယ်
တင်ပါဗျာ
looked in တာမ looked in တာ looked in တဲ့အလုံးမ looked in တဲ့အလုံးရှိတယ်
မှန်ပါ
looked in တဲ့အချိန်မ looked in တဲ့အချိန်ရှိတယ်
တင်ပါဗျာ
looked in တဲ့နေရာမ looked in တဲ့နေရာ
တင်ပါ
looked in တဲ့ခြေနေမ looked in တဲ့ခြေနေဆိုတာလည်းရှိတယ်
မှန်ပါဗျာ
အများစုကအဲ့ဒီအချိန်နောက်ကျတာတွေဖြစ်နေတာပေါ့
အော်တင်ပါဗျာ
looked in တဲ့အလုပ်ပဲ
တင်ပါ
အဲ့ဒါကြောင့်လဲအစင်မပြေဘူးဆိုတာအဲ့ဒါပဲ
အော်မိတ်
ငါဘာမားလို့လဲဆိုတော့
တင်ပါ
လောနေတာကိုမှမသိဘူးလေ
မှန်ပါ
အခုကမမေ့ခင်လှုပ်လိုက်မယ်စကားတော်မှာမမေ့ခင်ပြောလိုက်မယ်တော့ကြမေ့သွားမှဆိုလို့ဆိုတော့
တင်ပါ
တစ်
ဗျာ
ဖက်မှာနားထောင်တဲ့လူကအစင်နဲ့ဖြစ်မဖြစ်ဆိုတာ
တင်ပါဗျာ
ကိုနားလည်အောင်ပြောတယ်ဆိုရင်နားထောင်မှုအစင်နဲ့ဖြစ်တဲ့အချိန်ဆိုတာကိုလည်းနားလည်ဖို့လိုသေးတာပေါ့နော်
တင်ပါဗျာ
ဆရာတော်တို့ဆိုရင်ဒါအလုပ်ရမ်းများတဲ့အခါကျတော့တချို့ကအဲ့လိုအလိုက်မသိတဲ့လူတွေပေါ့လေ
မှန်ပါ
ဖြစ်ကနေရှိရင်အကုန်လုံးကြားဖြတ်ပြီးတော့သူ့ကိစ္စပဲအရေးကြီးတယ်ကျန်တာဘာမှအရေးမကြီးတဲ့ဘောမျိုးပေါ့လေ
တင်ပါအများရန်
အဲ့
ကြုံ
လို
ပါ
မျိုး
ပါ
တွေလို့တော့ဆရာတော်မှာအလုပ်ကပြက်သွားတာလေ
တင်ပါ
မပြက်ချင်လို့ကိုယ်အာယုံနဲ့ကိုယ်ဆက်လုပ်ရင်လည်းသူပြောတာကိုမကြားလိုက်ဘူးပေါ့
တင်ပါဗျာ
ဒါပြောမှန်းသေးချာဒါပေမဲ့သူကတော့ပြောပြီးသွားပြီဒီလိုမျိုးပေါ့ပြောပြီးသွားပြီထင်တယ်ပေါ့နော်
တင်ပါဆရာတော်ရှောက်ပြီးသွားပြီငါတော့ရပြီပေါ့တင်ပါ
ခွင့်ပြုတယ်အဲ့လိုပဲထင်တာ
တင်ပါ
အဲ့ဒါစကားပြောရုံနဲ့မကောက်ဘူးစာရီပို့တဲ့အခါလဲဒီတိုင်းပဲဆရာတော်အသိပေးပြီးသွားပြီဆိုပြီးတော့ဆရာတော်ကဘာမှပြန်မပြောလဲဆရာတော်သိသွားပြီလက်ခံတယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့ကိုက
ကိုပဲယူဆ
ဖြစ်ချင်တာကိုပဲ
တင်ပါ
ယူလိုက်တော့တာ
ဆွဲယူလိုက်တာတင်ပါ
အမှန်တကယ်တော့ဒီဟိုအဖြစ်ရင်
Okay, so hello and welcome everyone to another live stream. We just had our premiere.
ဖြစ်ချင်တာကိုပဲဇွတ်အသိကြီးပေါ့နော်
တင်ပါ
ကိုလိုချင်တာကိုမရမကတောင်း
တင်ပါ
ခွင့်ပြုချက်ကိုလည်းမရမကတောင်းတာပေါ့နော်
တင်ပါဗျာ
ဘာမှမပြောရင်အဲ့ဒါကိုကအခုချက်ချင်းပေးရမယ်
မှန်ပါ
ကိုခွင့်ပြုချက်ဆိုတာမှအခုချက်ချင်းပေးရမယ်
တင်ပါတင်ပါ
ဒီဘက်ကကိုကလည်းတောင်းရသေးတယ်တစ်ဖက်ကအတင်းဓမြတိုက်တယ်လို့ဖြစ်နေတာရှိတာကိုထုတ်
So Seattle is live right now.
ပေးခြင်းနေမပေးခြင်းတာနေနားမလည်ဘူး
တင်ပါဗျာ
Alms
ခို
round
င်းတဲ့အတိုင်းလုပ်ရမယ်ဆိုတော့ကိုက
at the shopping mall.
အာရေးနဲ့ပတ်သက်တော့ပြီးတော့နိုင်ငံရေးတွေနဲ့ပတ်သက်ရင်လည်းအဲ့လိုလုပ်လို့မရဘူးလေကိုယ့်ထက်ကလူကြီးဆိုရင်ကိုအဲ့လိုသွားပြီးတော့မှ
ဇွတ်တင်းကြီးတင်ပါ
ဖိအားပေးလို့မရဘူးလေ
ဟုတ်တာပေါ့
ခိုင်းမှာ
ဗျာ
तू ကခိုင်းရမှာလေ
တင်ပါ
ဆိုရင်တော့
ဟုတ်တာပါဗျာ
အဲ့လိုနားမလည်ကြတော့
မှန်ပါ
အစမပြေဖြစ်ကြတာ
တင်ပါအဲ့ဒီအခြေအနေမှာဆရာတော်ကကြတော့ဒါတပည့်တစ်ပန်းတွေက live မသိတာပဲပြောအချိန်ခါမသိတာပဲပြောအဲ့လိုဇွတ်တင်းလျှောက်ကြလှုပ်ကြကင်ကြခါမှာဆရာတော်ဘက်ကကြတော့ဒါဒေါသမဖြစ်အောင်အဲ့လိုမကောင်းတဲ့စိတ်တွေဖြစ်မသွားအောင်ဆရာတော်ဘယ်လိုများနှလုံးသွင်းပြီးတော့ဒီထိန်းတာပါလဲခင်ဗျအဲ့ဒီပိုင်းလေးလဲအတူယူလို့ရအောင်ပြီးတော့မြောက်လို့
အဲ့ဒါကတော့ဒီလိုလောကီအလုပ်တွေရဲ့စိုးကျိုးတွေကိုလေ့လာတာပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါမိတ်ပါ
သူတို့ဆိုရင်နည်းနည်းလေးမှကိုရာမှားခြင်းမှားမယ်ပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါ
သူများမှားရင်တော့သိမခံနိုင်
မှန်ပါဗျာ
ကိုယ့်အပြစ်တော့ကိုသိခြင်းမှသိမယ်သူများအပြစ်ကိုတော့ကောင်းကောင်းကိုသိကြတယ်ပေါ့လေ
မှန်ပါဗျာ
အဲ့ဒီလိုသိမခံနိုင်တဲ့အတွက်
တင်ပါ
ကိုတပည့်သားသမီးတွေဆုံးရှုံးရတာတွေပေါ့
တင်ပါဗျာ
ပြီးတော့တစ်ဖက်သားရဲ့စိတ်မှာဒဏ်ရာရသွားစေတာပေါ့နော်
တင်ပါဗျာ
အဲ့လိုတွေစီကံကြီးလွန်းနေဆိုတော့တောင်းတော့မှကိုလည်းအဲ့ဒီမှာသွားပြီးတော့အလုပ်လုပ်တယ်ဆိုရင်
တင်ပါ
အကြောင်းကြောင့်မလုပ်နိုင်ရင်အထုတ်ခံရမယ်အဲ့လိုမျိုးတွေပေါ့လေ
တင်ပါဗျာ
အပြောခံရမယ်
တင်ပါဗျာ
အဲ့ဒါမျိုးကြောက်တဲ့
စိတ်
လူတွေကြတော့မသွားရတော့ဘူးပေါ့
တင်ပါဗျာ
အခုဒီဆရာတော်တို့ရဲ့တရားစခန်းကျင်းပတော့မယ်10ရက်17ရက်
မှန်ပါ
12ရက်ပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါ
3ရက်တရားစခန်းဆိုလဲသူရေးထားတာက9နာရီနောက်ပိုင်းမှာ visitor ဧည့်တယ်ပေါ့လေ
တင်ပါဗျာ
ဝင်လို့မရဘူးဆိုပြီးတော့ရေးထားတော့အများစုကဘယ်လိုနားလဲလဲဆိုတော့9နာရီနောက်ပိုင်းဆိုရင်ဝင်လို့မရတော့ဘူးတကားပိတ်ပြီ
တင်ပါ
အဲ့ဒီလိုမျိုးထင်သွားစရာရှိတယ်ပေါ့နော်
တင်ပါဗျာ
အဲ့တော့ဒီမှာတရားစခန်းကျင်းပတဲ့အခါကျရင်လည်း9နာရီနောက်ပိုင်းဆိုရင်လာလို့မရတဲ့အတွက်မလာဘူးဒီကြောင့်9နာရီနောက်ပိုင်းဆိုရင်ဧည့်သည်လာလို့မရဘူး
တင်ပါ
အဲ့လိုမျိုးဒါဆရာတော်လည်းအဲ့လိုမျိုးပဲထင်စရာဖြစ်တာပေါ့အဲ့ဒါကြောင့်ဆရာတော်ကအဲ့ဒီကကပ္ပိယကိုပေါ့
မှန်ပါ
မေးလိုက်တော့မေးတာတော့မှ9နာရီထိုးကြရင်ဗီဇတာလက်မခံဘူးပြောတယ်
တင်ပါ
မဒီဒေတာတွေရောအဆင်ပြေလားဆိုတော့မဒီဒေတာကတော့ရတယ်တဲ့တရားထိုင်မှုလာရင်တော့ရတယ်
တင်ပါ
သူကတော့ဘာမှမဟုတ်ဘူးပေါ့နော်
တင်ပါ
တက်တက်မဲ့လာပြီးတော့လဲပတ်တာပေါ့လေ
ဩတင်ပါ
ဘယ်သူမှမသိတာတွေပေါ့
တင်ပါ
အဲ့လိုလဲပတ်တာဟိုတာ तू ကတားတာပေါ့ဒါပေမဲ့ तू ရေးထားတဲ့စာကစီကန်းကိုကြည့်လိုက်ရင်တော်တော်များများတော့
တင်ပါ
အားနာတယ်လေ
တင်ပါဗျာ
ကျောင်းဆိုတဲ့ဟိုကတောင်းမလာကျင်ကြတဲ့ကြားရမှာပေါ့နော်ဒီလိုစီကန်းချက်တွေကလည်းများတယ်ဆိုရင်
တင်ပါ
အပြစ်ဖြစ်မှာဆိုတာနဲ့ပေါ့လေ
တင်ပါဗျာ
မလာရဲဘူးပေါ့ဘာကြောင့်လဲဆိုတာကိုမသိဘူးလေ
တင်ပါဗျာ
ဆရာတော်ကိုယ်တိုင်တော့မှဒါမေးလိုက်တော့မှသိတယ်
တင်ပါဗျာတင်ပါဗျာ
အဲ့တော့အဲ့ဒီလိုမျိုးဒီ
စီကံရဲ့အားနေ
စီ
ချက်က
န်းရဲ့စီကန်းလောက်တာရဲ့အားနည်းချက်မှာလာမဲ့လူကမရှိတော့ဘူးအဲ့လိုဖြစ်သွားတယ်
တင်ပါဗျာ
တရားစခန်းလောက်တာတော့မှဆရာတော်တို့ကလူတွေကိုလာပါပြောရင်တော့မှသူတို့က9နိုင်နောက်ပိုင်းဆိုရင်မလာရဘူး visitor မလာဘူးဆိုတော့သူတို့က visitor နဲ့ medita နဲ့ကနားမလဲဘူးလေတချို့ကြောက်လဲ9နိုင်နောက်ပိုင်းမှာလာဖူးကျင်တဲ့လူကလည်းရှိမှာလေ
တင်ပါ
တ
ဗျာ
ရားထိုင်မှုမဟုတ်ဘူးပေါ့နော်
တင်ပါဗျာ
ဒါလှူကျင်တဲ့လူကလည်းရှိမယ်ပေါ့
So this is Seattle,
ဝင်ဝမှာပဲရေးထားတဲ့အခါ
basically like the standard that I would have for a real enlightened master or a very high level enlightened master would be someone like Seattle Ashino Tamatara. And so in contrast to him, Angelo Delulu is kind of nothing, it's not nothing to speak about. And so Seattle is currently on a 1-month retreat program in America, and he's with his monks and his nuns from all over the world, from Vietnam, from Switzerland, from America, from China, and they are going for their traditional alms round, or spreading awareness about the Buddhist practice, and also receiving donations, receiving offerings, giving the lay people a chance to make merit by donating to the monks and nuns on the spiritual journey. So it's basically a team of volunteers following around the master.
Tema.
အဲ့လိုတွေပါကြုံရတာပေါ့
Tema.
အဲ့ကြောင့်လေကိုเจ้าနဲ့ကိုကြတော့ဘာဖြစ်ဖြစ်ပျောက်ချင်လဲပျောက်အဲ့လိုပေါ့
Tema.
တန်တရားဖြစ်မနေတော့ဘူးပေါ့နော်
Temaဗျာ
ကိုကလည်းသူများကိုတန်တရားဖြစ်ထားရင်ကိုလည်းတန်တရားပြန်ဖြစ်ခံရမှာလေ
Tema
တရားနဲ့ပဲစောင့်ရှောက်တော့မယ်အဲ့လိုပေါ့နော်
Tema
ကိုကဒီလိုပဲလာ ခိုးခဲ့ရင်တော့ပြန်ခိုးခံမှာပဲပေါ့လေ
ဒီမှာ
ကိုဆိုတာကိုတယောက်တည်းတော့မဟုတ်ဘူးဖွဲ့စည်းဆိုတော့လေ
ဒီမှာဗျာ
အဲ့လိုနဲ့ပဲတရားနဲ့ရှင်းတဲ့လို့ဒီဇိုင်းမမလုပ်တယ်
Yeah, I don't want to speak out of turn about Angelo Delulu, and my presentation and the video that I made criticizing Angelo is not to, just act like a fool saying, I don't understand anything what this guy's talking about, but I don't like him. It's not about if I like him or not, but opening the space for challenging this kind of apparently unchallengeable position about his depth, his understanding, his enlightenment, etc. We can't be sure. We can't be sure to the degree that we can't know if this Angelo Delulu guy, who's like a anesthesiologist that lives in Colorado, is less enlightened or more enlightened than this monk master, this real enlightened master, Sayadaw Otamatara, who's also a true humanitarian. We can't know for sure. But what we can do is we can open up the space for dialogue, for being challenged, for being criticized. And for me, at least, I really value that. So if someone who was a sincere practitioner on the path, especially if they spent 8 years as a monk, as a Buddhist monk, and have trained with meditation masters that speak English and have been practicing for decades and decades, I would be very flattered. I'd be very happy to receive a video, somebody coming at me with so much energy to challenge me, and it would be a way of welcoming an invitation. So that is an important reason why I made that video and why I've shared it with the community.
ဘာမှလို့လဲဆိုတော့တခုတည်းလောက်ရက်ကိုပဲစွဲနေလို့တော့မရဘူးပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါဆရာဗျာ
ကောင်းတာလောက်တာပဲဆိုပြီးတော့လုပ်ချင်တဲ့အချိန်လုပ်မယ်လုပ်ချင်တယ်လို့လုပ်မယ်လုပ်ချင်တဲ့နေရာမှာလုပ်မယ်ဆိုတော့
မှန်ပါ
အစမပြေမှုတွေကြုံရမှာပေါ့
မှန်ပါဗျာဒါဆိုဆရာတော်မိတ်သွားတာဖြင့်ပြီးတော်တို့
So this is one of the volunteers, Ronald, I believe.
စီကံဒီလူဤတန်ဖိုးတို့
And Sayadaw gave a talk at kind of like a Zen meditation center, like a Soto Zen meditation center. And apparently this Ronald guy was there. And he, joined the group, started to follow the group, stay with the teacher and at the meditation center that Tabarwa has in America, and kind of taken refuge in the Sangha. Cedar, a part of what these fake non-duality teachers seem to do is to appeal to people who would like to convince themselves that they're enlightened or have already convinced themselves that they're enlightened, and to give these basically superficial principles and practices to just keep perpetuating that convincing narrative, that convincing that you've got it or I've got it. But they're not very specific, and they don't represent themselves very clearly. And of course, everything that we do here is a part of our non-dual Buddhist, absurdist, avant-garde performance art, so there's no need to take anything said here seriously. It's all in jest, it's all a performance. And what that really means on a deeper level is that there's no true point of attachment. There's nothing that really can be held on to or should be held on to and attached to. Any view, any perception, any story, any idea, any concept.
Is it?
Yeah, because my the master and the
So this is live, that's why it's lagging, because they're live streaming this alms round.
။ဘယ်သူမားတယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ပဲအမှားပြောတာလေအဲ့လိုပဲ
မိတ်ပါဗျာ
။ तू ကပုဂ္ဂိုလ်အစွဲကြီးပါနေတာပေါ့နော်။ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်အစွဲဖြုတ်နိုင်မှာ
မှန်ပါ
ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်လည်းမှန်မှန်ကန်ကန်သုံးတတ်တာ
ဟော
။လို့မဟုတ်ရင်ပြောတဲ့လူက သူကများကိုအပြစ်ပြောတဲ့အလုပ်ပဲလုပ်လို့ဖြစ်နေတာပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါ
ကိုဘွားကလည်းဒါဆရာတော်ကသူများကိုမကောင်းမြင်နေတဲ့စိတ်ကိုမစွန့်နိုင်ဘူးဆိုရင်ပညာရေးတို့စီးပွားရေးတို့
ဓမ္မ
တရားထုတ်တို့တာနာပြုတဲ့အလုပ်တွေမှာတကယ်လုပ်နိုင်မှာမဟုတ်တော့
ဟုတ်မှန်ပါဗျာ
အဲ့ဒီအပြစ်ကိုမကြည့်တော့လို့
ဓမ္မ
သူတစ်ပါးရဲ့အမားတွေကိုပြုပြင်စရာဖြစ်နေပဲတီးခန့်စရာဖြစ်နေပဲတုံးလိုက်တော့
ကုသိုလ်
အမားကိုလည်းဒီတိုင်းပဲ
မှန်ပါ
ကိုမားလည်းပြုပြင်တယ်တီးခန့်တယ်
မှန်ပါမှန်ပါဗျာ
ဒါကလည်းဖရာတရားတန်ခါကိုဆရာတင်လိုက်တော့မှမှန်မှန်ကန်ကန်သုံးတက်လာတာပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါဗျာ
မကောင်းတဲ့လုပ်ရက်တွေကိုမဟုတ်မခံဆိုတဲ့စိတ်ကနားလည်မှုပါပေါ့လေ
မှန်ပါ
ရှိကြတာပဲပေါ့လေ
မှန်ပါ
အဲ့ဒီ
ဗျာ
လမ်းစဉ်ကိုကျင့်သုံးကြတာလည်းမခက်ဘူးပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါဆရာ
ဟိုကကြတော့တရားနဲ့ကြတော့ဟိုမဟုတ်တာကြုံရတာကိုလူတိုင်းမကြုံပဲကိုကြုံရတယ်ဆိုတာကဒါကိုဝေကျွေးဆန်မယ်အလဲပဲပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါ
ကိုလည်းဒီလိုမဟုတ်တာတွေလုပ်ခဲ့လို့ပဲဆိုတော့အမှန်တရားဆိုတာလည်းလက်တွေ့သုံးကြည့်လိုက်တော့မှ
မှန်ပါ
ဟာဒါတကယ်ကိုကျင့်တတ်စရာကောင်းတယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့သူများကိုလည်းတောက်လျှောက်တင်ပေးတာ
ဓမ္မဆရာဗျာ
1999ရေပေါ့ဒီလိုကိုပြူတဲ့ကံပက်တင်နံကိုထံပြန်လာနေပေါ့နော်ဒါကိုရာနှုံးပြည့်နီးပါးလောက်ကိုသုံးသွားတာ99ရာခိုင်နှုန်းပေါ့နော်တခါလေအကြောင်းဟိုမဖြစ်လို့ဒီတရားလောကီနီးနဲ့အများနဲ့ကြတော့တခါကြတော့ရှင်းလို့မရတာရှိရလေ
ဓမ္မဆရာဗျာ
အများကသီးမခံခြင်းဆရာတော်အနေနဲ့လည်းတခါကြတော့ကိုလည်းမအားဘူးဆိုရင်ဥမဆောင်နိုင်ဘူးဆိုရင်
ဓမ္မ
လောကီနီးနဲ့ရှင်းရတာလေးလည်းရှိတာပေါ့လေ
ဓမ္မဗျာ
ဒါပေမဲ့ကိုယ့်အကိုဆိုရင်တော့တရားနဲ့ပဲရှင်း
ဓမ္မ
သူပေါင်းလုပ်တဲ့အခါကျရင်တော့ပြောမရတဲ့အတွက်ပေါ့
ဓမ္မဆရာဒါလည်းဆရာတော့စုပ်ကင်ထားတဲ့သဘောမျိုးမဖြစ်တဲ့သဘောလည်းတက်ရောက်တာပါနော်ဆရာ
အဲ့ဒါလဲဟိုပါပေါ့ဇွတ်လောက်တာတွေမှားလောက်တာတွေကိုလည်းမပယ်ပဲနဲ့သုံးယုံတက်သုံးတာလေ
ဩ
အမှန်တရားကိုလည်းသုံးယုံတက်ပဲသုံးတော့ဒီလိုလုံးမှမှန်တယ်ဆိုပြီးကင်မထားတဲ့အတွက်
ဓမ္မ
ဒီလိုမဟုတ်ရင်မှားတယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့လဲကိုယ့်တပည့်တွေကိုပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်သူတစ်ပါးကိုပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်
ဓမ္မ
အပြစ်မသိဘူး
မကောင်းတဲ့စိတ်တွေမဖြစ်တော့ဓမ္မ
ဟိုပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဆွဲနေလို့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်အကောင်းပြောလိုက်မကောင်းပြောလိုက်ဟုတ်လား
ဩဓမ္မ
ဒီလောက်ရက်ကိုဆွဲနေလို့ပဲကိုဆွဲနေတဲ့လောက်ရက်တွေကိုကောင်းမကောင်းပြောနေတာ
မှန်ပါဆရာဗျာ
ဒီကကြတော့ဒါဆွဲလန်းမှုကလုံနေတာပဲ
မှန်ပါ
အဝိဇ္ဇာတဏှာကနေပြီးတော့ဒီလိုဟိုပုဂ္ဂိုလ်
ကိုလိုလိုလိုက်ထင်
ပြစ်တင်လိုက်
ဓမ္မ
အချစ်ဝင်လိုက်ပေါ့လေ
ဓမ္မ
ဒီလောက်ရက်ကလေးကိုသဘောကျလိုက်
ဓမ္မ
သဘောမကျတယ်တရားထိုင်တာတော့မှမလုပ်ရင်သဘောမကျဘူးလေ
ဟုတ်တာပေါ့ဗျာ
ဆရာတို့ကိုယ်တိုင်လည်းဒီတိုင်းပဲကိုယ်တိုင်လှုပ်ကြည့်လိုက်တော့မှသဘောမကျပါနဲ့ဆိုလို့မရဘူး
yes
ဒါလှုပ်ရက်ကတော့ဒီလှုပ်ရက်ပဲလေကိုယ်စိတ်ကပြောင်းနေတာ
မှန်ပါ
ကိုလှုပ်ရင်တစ်မျိုးကိုမလှုပ်ရင်တစ်မျိုးတဘောတရားကြီးတာလဲကိုမနေရင်တော့မကြိုက်ကြဘူး
ဓမ္မဗျာ
ဒါနေလိုက်လို့ကိုယ့်ရည်တာဖြစ်သွားရင်တော့ကိုဥစားဆိုတဲ့ဟိုကတဘောကြပြီးသားတယ်
ဟုတ်တယ်ဗျာ
အဲ့တော့လည်းကြိုက်မှာပဲအဲ့ပုံမျိုးပဲ
ဓမ္မ
ဒါဘာလို့ပဲဖြစ်ပါတော့ကိုနဲ့မသိတဲ့လူဆိုရင်မကောင်းမြင်တာ
မှန်ပါ
ကိုနဲ့ပတ်သက်လာပြီဆိုတော့ဟိုကိုအကောင်းမြင်တဲ့အတွက်ကိုနဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့လူလည်းအကောင်းမြင်တယ်အဲ့တော့တရားရှိပြီးသား
ဓမ္မ
အဲ့ဒါတွေကိုသိထားရင်ကို့အပြစ်ပြောတဲ့လူကိုလည်းဖွင့်လို့ရတယ်ပေါ့နော်
ဩဓမ္မဗျာ
ဟောဒါကိုနဲ့မပတ်သက်နေ
သိလို့
ကိုနဲ့ပတ်သက်လာရင်လည်းဒါကို့ကိုလက်ခံနိုင်မှာပဲပေါ့နော်နားလည်မှာပဲပေါ့လေ
မှန်ပါဗျာဓမ္မဗျာ
ဒါတရားနဲ့ဖြည့်ရှင်းတဲ့သဘောပေါ့လေ
ဓမ္မ
အဲ့ကြတော့နားလည်ဖို့ပဲလိုတာလေ
ဓမ္မဗျာ
နားလည်အောင်လို့တကားဖွင့်ပေးဖို့ပဲလိုတာပေါ့နော်
ဓမ္မဗျာစိတ်တကားပေါ့အသိဉာဏ်တကားပေါ့နော်ဆရာဗျာ
ဟုတ်တယ်
အသိတရားတကား
ဟိုတကားဖွင့်တယ်ဆိုတာကတော့ခုလိုမျိုးပေါ့ကဲဒီဘေးဧရိယာပေါ့ဆန်
ဓမ္မ
ဖရန်စစ္စကိုဆန်
တန်လို့စေဓမ္မ
ဒီဘက်ဒီမှာအခုဒေတာပုံတွေလူရတော့ရောက်တယ်လေ
စန္ဒဓမ္မဗျာ
ဒီမှာတိုင်းဝမ်နေနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့မှရောက်တာပါအဲ့တုန်းကတော့
ဓမ္မ
အခုကျတော့
ဗျာ
BNN နေနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့ရောက်တာပေါ့နော်
ဓမ္မဗျာ
အခုကျတော့ဒါဆွန့်ခံနေပါကြွရတယ်ငကိုလည်းလုတ်ခဲ့တာပါပဲ
ဓမ္မ
ဒါပေမဲ့ Vietnam ပြည်သက်ကတော့တရားကိုပုံစိတ်ဝင်စားတယ်
ဟောတမ
သူတို့ကြတော့ဒီနိုင်ငံရေးအစွဲတွေဟိုပေါ့နော်မသိမကြီးတော့ဘူးပေါ့လေမြန်မာကကြတော့နိုင်ငံရေးအစွဲကြီးတွေတော့
တမ
နိုင်ငံရေးနဲ့ပတ်သက်လာရင်နိုင်ငံရေးကအဓိကဖြစ်သွားကြတာ
တမဗျာ
တရားသိမ့်မလုပ်တော့ကျတော့မှ Vietnam နေနဲ့ပေါင်းပြီးတော့ဒိတ်တာဖွင့်ရတဲ့တကယ်ဖြစ်သွား
တမ
ဘယ်လိုပဲဖြစ်ပေါ့လေ
ရက်တော့မှန်တာလားဟောမဟုတ်တော့ဆရာတော်ကလေးဆက်မိန်ပေးပါဗျာ
ဆရာတော်ဘက်ကကြောက်လဲမြန်မာတွေ Vietnam နေအနောက်နိုင်ငံသားတွေဆိုတဲ့
မှန်ပါ
ဟိုကွဲပြားမှုကိုဟိုကတရားလို့တော့ကိုပါဆွဲဖြုတ်လိုက်တာ
တမ
ယောက်ျားမိန်းမဆိုတဲ့တတ်မှတ်ချက်ဆွဲပါတော့
တမ
ဒီဘုန်းကြီးတီလာရှင်လူဆိုတဲ့တတ်မှတ်ချက်ဆွဲပေါ့မြန်မာနိုင်ငံသားမြန်မာ Vietnam ပေါ့လေ
မှန်ပါ
နောက်နိုင်ငံသားပေါ့ဒီတတ်မှတ်ချက်တွေကိုစိတ်ထဲကနေပြီးတော့ဒီအဲ့ပေဒံတွေကိုကင်တတ်တယ်လို့ပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါ
ဘာသာရေးပေဒံကိုကင်တတ်တယ်လူမျိုးရေးနိုင်ငံရေးပေဒံကင်တတ်တယ်
တမ
ပြီးတော့လွတ်ချတတ်တယ်လွတ်ချတတ်တဲ့အခါကျတော့ကိုလည်းဘလို့မှသဘောမထားတဲ့အခါကျတော့
တမ
ကိုကဘာပေဒံနဲ့မှမကြည့်တော့သူကဘာပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်အရေးမကြီးတော့ဘူး
တမ
သူက
ဗျာ
လည်းသူအနောက်နိုင်ငံသားပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်
တမ
Vietnam ဖြစ်ဖြစ်မြန်မာဖြစ်ဖြစ်ပေါ့လေ
တမဆရာဗျာ
အဓိကတော့လောက်ရက်ကိုပဲအဓိကထားတာလေမကောင်းမှုရှောင်ကောင်းမှုဆောင်ဖြူအောင်သိကိုထား
တမ
အဲ့လောက်ရက်ကိုပဲမကောင်းမှုရှောင်တဲ့လူချင်းပေါင်းပြီးတော့ရှောင်ပါတော့
ဩမှန်ပါ
မကောင်းမှုမရှောင်တဲ့လူကိုလည်းရှောင်ခြင်းပြုပြင်ပေးတာပါ
ဘာလူမျိုးညာလူမျိုးဘာပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ညာပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ရာဆိုတာတွေကိုအဓိကထားမယ်အစားကောင်းတဲ့လုံရက်မကောင်းတဲ့လုံရက်တွေကို
ဟုတ်တယ်
အဓိကထားပြီးတော့မှန်ပါ
လုတ်ဖြစ်ဖို့ကအဓိကပေါ့နော်
မှန်ပါ
ဟိုတယောက်ကအစတရားပဲလေ
တမဗျာ
ဗုဒ္ဓဘာသာလည်းအခုမြန်မာနိုင်ငံမှာအမာခံကြံရစ်ခဲ့တဲ့အခါကျတော့မြန်မာပြည်ကနေတခြားကိုပြန်ပြန့်တာပဲ
တမဗျာ
ဟိုမြန်မာထဲမှာတော့မှလုတ်တဲ့လူမလုတ်တဲ့လူပဲရှိသေးတာပေါ့
တမသိကြပါဗျာ
အဲ့လိုပဲအခုတခြား Vietnam တို့အနောက်နိုင်ငံသားတို့မှာလည်းမလုတ်တဲ့လူတွေရှိတယ်လို့လုတ်တဲ့လူတွေလည်းရှိလာကြတယ်
တမဗျာ
အဲ့ဒါတွေနဲ့ပေါင်းလို့ရင်းနဲ့တဖြည်းဖြည်းနဲ့နိုင်ငံခြားရောက်နေတဲ့မြန်မာတွေလည်းအများလို့ရင်တော့လိုက်လုတ်ကြမှာပဲလေ
တမဆရာဗျာ
ဒါဆိုတော့အများကိုအဓိကထားတဲ့အတွက်
ဩ
ငကိုတဲ့ဟိုကတမင်တကာအများလုတ်တယ်လို့လိုက်လုတ်မယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့ဟိုစီစဉ်မထားဘူးဆိုရင်တော့မှ
တမ
အများကြိုက်ဝိုင်းကြိုက်လိုက်တော့တာ
တမဗျာ
အဲ့လိုအများကောင်းတယ်ဆိုရင်ဟိုလည်းဝိုင်းပြီးတော့ကောင်းတယ်လို့လက်ခံတဲ့မသိစိတ်ရဲ့အကျင့်ဟာရှိ
ပြောရောင်ပါတဲ့အကျင့်တမဗျာ
ဟုတ်တယ်ဟိုနည်းနည်းပုတ်တင်ညိုတွေလို့ပေါ့နော်သူကနဲ့သူကိုနေတဲ့နေရာအပေါ်မှာအပင်အပေါ်မှာမူတည်ပြီးအယောင်ပြောင်းတယ်လို့ပေါ့သူရဲ့
မှန်ပါ
လုံခြုံရေးအရာပေါ့လေ
မှန်ပါဗျာ
စိတ်မှာလည်းအဲ့ဒီဘဝတော့ရှိပြီးသားပေါ့
မှန်ပါဗျာ
အများထားတဲ့စိတ်ကိုဟိုကလိုက်ပြီးတော့ထားကြတာပေါ့လေ
မှန်ပါဆရာ
အဲ့လို
ဗျာ
ထားတဲ့အတွက်လည်းဆရာတော်ပေါ်မှာအပြစ်တင်တော့လဲဝိုင်းပြီးတော့အပြစ်တင်ကြတာပဲပေါ့
တမ
သူတို့ရဲ့တမင်တက်လောက်တာမဟုတ်ဘူးပေါ့လေ
တမ
နားလည်ထား
နောက်ွယ်စိတ်ရဲ့တဘာဝ
ကိုလည်းဒီလိုလောက်ခဲ့မှာပဲ
တမ
လူမဆိုစိတ်ရဲ့သဘောကဒီလိုပဲဆိုတော့စိတ်အကြောင်းသိတာပေါ့သူတို့အကြောင်းတော့မသိဘူးဆိုရင်တော့
တမ
သူတို့သုံးနေတဲ့စိတ်တွေရဲ့အကြောင်းတွေပေါ့လေ
တမ
အဲ့ဒီခါကျတော့သိတော့လဲပြင်းလို့ရတယ်လေ
တမ
ကိုလည်းသူတို့သိအောင်လို့အခုလိုပြောပြနေရမယ်လေ
တမဗျာ
သိသွားရင်သူတို့လည်းပြီးသွားတာပေါ့စိတ်ကဒီလိုကိုသုံးနေတဲ့စိတ်ကဒီလို
So the monk behind Siaro here is a Vietnamese monk that actually thinks that he's enlightened, but he's not. And not to use enlightenment in a vague term, but I just use it in terms of how much I can understand it. And when we say enlightenment, we're either talking about being a stream enterer, so a Sotapanna, Sakyagami, an Anagami, or an Arahat. And usually these people who think that they're enlightened but actually aren't, they think that they're Arahats. And for a Sotapanna to think that they're an Arahat, or a stream enterer to think that they're an Arahat, they might as well not be enlightened with how disastrous of a thought that is. And so even though it can be quite common to have monks in Buddhism that consider themselves to be enlightened, they can still represent the symbology and the presence of enlightenment, of monasticism, in the society, in the community, right? So even though a monk isn't enlightened, even though a monk might be confused, even though a monk might have anger or greed or delusion or identity view, self-view, and thinking that we're enlightened is self-view, right? If you think you're enlightened, that's the view of self. So that's what's to be eradicated and let go of. It's a fetter. It's a wrong view. We can still basically use the image of monks without that attachment, right? And we can value all the different elements that people bring to the table practically when we're together in a spiritual community or a spiritual environment, even if people may not be who they think they are. You know, people have all kinds of ego and difficulties and different positive elements and different negative elements, but at the core, it's not just one or the other. So there's all these different avenues, all these different aspects to make use of. And when we're in a practical spiritual community together, that's not just advertising or selling us this superficial materialist or mentalist idea of what enlightenment is, or what spirituality is, it's a very practical situation. And we learn how to collaborate with one another. We learn how to communicate with one another. We learn how to sacrifice our own egos in the face of doing good deeds, practicing with members of the community, helping others, volunteering, all that good stuff. So it depends, Cedar. Sometimes, like with Sayadaw is not the kind of person to destroy anyone's understanding. So if a monk said that he was enlightened, but he wasn't actually, Sayadaw might just roll with that and say, okay, you know, basically whatever, but not a callous whatever, a whatever of detachment, mindfulness and detachment. So we actually had a situation when I was in India with Sayadaw, where's this monk that was coming around that was claiming to be an arahat. Was he actually an arahat? Who knows, right? Was he actually fully enlightened or not? Who knows? But this monk is not enlightened for sure, definitely not. He's a very foolish monk and a very kind and lovely man as well. But so I was kind of trying to challenge a little bit Sayadaw with this monk that was nearby and said, you know, Sayadaw, how do we know if a monk is an arahat or not? Isn't this important? Because one of the foundational rules that monks have to follow is if they claim to be an arahat or they claim a spiritual attainment that's not true, that can actually get them disbarred. So they're not formally or officially a monk anymore. And Sayadaw was really just embodying and teaching, you know, to be mindful and detached. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. It's not important, right? So your identity view isn't important, even when it's about someone else's identity view. And instead of fixating on that to make a drama or to make something interesting or to, you know, create intrigue and sometimes create conflict, focus on your practice, focus on doing good deeds, focus on mindfulness and detachment, and continue. And don't fixate on if someone else is right or wrong or someone else is enlightened or not. It doesn't really matter. You know, we have to go back to our own practice. And that's inclusive of making all kinds of mistakes and trying and reaching out and challenging one another and being challenged. But one of the things that Sayadaw is quite famous for saying is don't attach to your understanding. So if you understand, detach from that. If you don't understand, detach from that. So this is the live stream with Seattle. So we're very nice to be close.
တင်ပါဆရာတော်ဗျာ
ဒါလည်းကျုံလုံးမှာ homeless တယောက်နဲ့ပေါင်းပြီးတော့အလုပ်လုပ်ကြည့်တော့ဒါလုပ်လို့ရနိုင်တယ်ဆိုတာတင်ပါသူတို့လည်းကိုယ့်အကြောင်းသိသွားတယ်တင်ပါဟောလည်းသူတို့အကြောင်းလေးကိုသိသွားတယ်ပေါ့တင်ပါဆရာတော်ပေါင်းမဲ့ပေါင်းတော့အင်ဂျီယာမဲနဲ့လည်းပေါင်းလုပ်တာပဲเนาะဆရာတော်ဒီသဘောတွေဖြစ်သူတို့ကမပေါင်းတဲ့အနေနဲ့များမိမ့်ပါဗျာဒီယ်လီကမြို့လေကောင်ကြီးတော်မှာ homeless တွေဝိုင်းပြီးနေလိုက်ကြတာဒါလည်း6တက်သွားတယ်ဆိုတော့မှန်ပါတတ်နိုင်တဲ့လူတွေမနေနိုင်တော့မနေရတော့ဘူးတင်ပါအဲ့လိုတော့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်ဆိုတော့ဒါလည်းကိုလည်းကြုံနိုင်တာလေတင်ပါ
Oh, I remember. Seattle would say, and this is really powerful and really important, only the Buddha knows for sure. Unless you are Sammasambuddha, you don't know for sure. That person's enlightened, that person's not enlightened, that person has a good intention, that has a bad intention. Unless you're a Buddha, we don't know for sure. Only the Buddha knows for sure. You could say only awareness itself knows for sure. So what does awareness know? Maybe it knows sureness or thisness or thusness or the other sureness, right? Awareness knows the other sureness. So detach from your understanding, and instead of focusing on your ego and your judgment and all these things, it'll come up, it'll happen. Focus on doing good deeds with mindfulness and detachment more and more. Focus on practicing generosity more and more. And the wonderfulness of what Sayadaw does is this is a wide open invitation for anyone, for everyone, to become a monk or a nun, to become a yogi, to become a full-time volunteer, to help build more meditation centers all over the world for intentional spiritual communities. So this is live, this is real, this is happening. And Sayadaw's doors are wide open. And I'll tell you, this Sayadaw guy, man, he's top in the world. He is top in the world. The work that he does is unbelievable. This is one of the most active and masterful spiritual teachers in the world, and I'm not joking around with that. Sayadaw Ashino Dhammatara. All of the other master teachers that I can think about, and very, very high level, way above me, I may never even get too close to their positions, right? There's no way that they could do what Sayadaw does. I think Sayadaw is the only spiritual master, spiritual teacher in the world that can do what he does. Work with everyone, work with anyone. And sometimes there's a H in there as well, Chanath. I usually like this spelling, Chanath. Oh, Mama. လုတ်ချင်တာဖြစ်ချင်တာတွေတွေးချင်တာသိချင်တာတွေအဲ့ဒီလိုဆွဲနေတဲ့စိတ်ကအမှန်တရားကိုနားမလည်ဘူးမှန်ပါအသိဉာဏ်ကိုမဖြစ်စေဘူးပေါ့ဘာလို့တင်လဲမသိကြဘူးလို့အဲ့ဒါကြောင့်ဆရာတော်မှာခေါင်းဆောင်နေရတယ်ဆိုတာဆရာတော်ကသိလို့မှန်ပါမသိရင်တော့မှနေရာကပါခြင်းလို့တော့မဟုတ်ပေါ့နော်ဆရာတော်ဟုတ်တယ်ဒီမှာဆရာတော်စကားနားထောင်နေဆိုဆရာတော်ဆရာတင်တာစကားမဟုတ်ဘူးဒီမှာသူတို့ဆိုရင်လုံးမရဘူးပြောမယ် I mean, it's an absolutely incredible vision that Sayadaw has. It's a 60s spiritual revolution kind of adjacent vision. Let's create meditation centers all around the world that are open for all, for anyone, 24/7, to come and do good deeds with mindfulness and detachment limitlessly for all. And specifically a high-level Vipassana master that's teaching this and that's sharing this vision. Is no limit. If 100 people showed up to where he is today or tomorrow, right now, he's going to take those people on and say, okay, you can follow. You can come to Myanmar. You can go to this center in Thailand. We can create a new center in America according to the resources that are available. This guy is full on. And so people wonder, how do you look at Angelo Delulu or Alexis Non-Duality or Adi Ashanti and put up your nose? Because this is a kind of practice that I'm following along with, and this is a kind of practice that I align with. And so what they're offering couldn't be more superficial, couldn't be more shallow, couldn't be more just totally irrelevant when it comes to being an embodied spiritual teacher in the world and creating an opportunity for people to go down the path.
homeless နဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့ကိုနဲ့ဘယ်လိုပုံစံနဲ့မဆိုပတ်သက်လာတဲ့ homeless တွေဆွဲခေါ်တဲ့နေရာမှာယုံကြည်မှုဆရာတော်မှာယုံကြည်မှုရှိသွားပြီတက်သိပြလို့ရပြီဆိုရင်ဆရာတော်ကဒါကိုအကြီးကျယ်လုပ်ဒီမှာ
Somebody mentioned about how, like, I think Lama Lina and some of those other, like, Tibetan masters, like Western Tibetan female masters and stuff, how they don't have more traction or interest online. I mean, how does a guy like this not have more traction and interest online? You can come and stay for free for the rest of your life. We can build spiritual community together. We can build community based on enlightenment, based on original truth, based on a secular understanding and methodology of what enlightenment actually is and how to get there, and how to practice with that in a way to benefit others, to help the homeless, to help the people in the most need, and through that to empower ourselves and to keep going further down the path. And he's basically unknown in the West. And I try to bring this degree of realness. It's why I don't have so much tolerance for a guy like Shiva and stuff, because it's so self-fixated and self-indulgent, whatever. And it's like, this is incredible. You know, and this is what a lot of people need. And that's why I come hard for people like Angelo DeLulu, because they're kind of absorbing this last section, or this fading tide of spiritual seekers into this totally disassociated spirituality that doesn't lead anywhere. Just leads to us creating a spiritual ego, an enlightened ego. But most people who are actually real seekers, who are interested in enlightenment, they don't want an enlightened ego. They want enlightenment. And they also want community. Not fake parasocial Zoom meeting communities around, you know, your shallow persona and your bad poetry and your, you know, vague, nihilistic, pseudo teachings, pseudo non-dual teachings. So it's basically that spiritual materialism has evolved into spiritual mentalism. So all of the modern non-duality teachers that most people are coming across are spiritual mentalists rather than spiritual materialists. And it's the exact same problem. It's just grasping onto mental phenomena rather than material phenomena. But it's not real spirituality. It's not really the path. So we have to slow down. We have to go step by step. We have to reorient ourselves to giving, to self-sacrifice, and then we can slowly build on that platform of spaciousness, of presence, of deep listening, of deep sharing, of mindfulness and detachment that we build inside of ourselves. And my vision is also that we can be a part of this and that we can build on this. Well, you need some space, but you also need to practice seriously. You need to cut the shit. So you need to be listening to Dharma talks. You need to be taking refuge. You need to be attending meditation retreats. You have to stop smoking weed. You have to stop drinking. You have to cut the shit. Right? And a big part of the shit is this hyper parasocial ego position that you put yourself in relationship to the teachings and in relationship to the community. All that has to be dropped. And my encouragement and my important pointing for the Sangha is please practice seriously. Please cultivate yourself. Please develop yourself. You want to be more involved with this work. You want to be a bigger part of what we're building here and making it more accessible and making it more realistic for you to step in as a leader, for you to step in as a volunteer, for you to step in as a donor, for you to step in as a yogi, for you to step in as a monk or a nun, for you to step in as a community builder or a meditation center builder. You have to really practice yourself now. No. Develop yourself so that over the next 5 years, the next 10 years, we're going to be ready to go to war. But this kind of war is just drowning in patience. It's drowning in a lot of boringness. So you have to turn up your meter of acceptable patience and acceptable boringness to 100%. You have to learn how to accept neutrality. And stop the constant seeking of stimulation. Stimulation will come. We start creating community, building meditation centers, doing volunteering, opening up orphanages, opening up animal shelters, all this different kind of stuff that Seattle has already done. It's a lot to sink your teeth into, 100%. But the process of getting there and stepping into that and making that realistic is going to be a lot of neutrality, a lot of time, a lot of step by step, and a lot of being challenged as well, you know. What tradition is Sayadaw associated with? Sayadaw is one of the well-known meditation masters of Myanmar. So he has over 100 temples in Myanmar.
Millionaire, trillionaire, Mama.
တော့ဘာလုံနိုင်ပြီးသွားပြီဆိုတော့ဆရာတော်တို့ကတော့မခက်ပါဘူးဒီမှာသာနာပြုတာလည်းမခက်ဘူးပေါ့နော်မှန်ပါဗျာပရိဒတ်လည်းမခက်ဘူးမှန်ပါဗျာပြီးတော့ဟိုမမြန်ရင်သာနေမဲ့တစ်ချိန်ချိန်တော့ဖြစ်လာမယ်လို့လည်းဆရာတော်ကအဲ့လိုယုံကြည်မှုလည်းအပြည့်ရှိတာတွေ့ရတယ်ဟုတ်တယ်ဒါကတော့လက်တွေ့လုံရင်းနဲ့ဖြစ်လာတယ်
Ask yourself, Chillin. Ask yourself deeply in your meditation, in your contemplation, what is boredom?
လုပ်ခဲ့တယ်နော်တင်ပါဗျာမယုံကြည်ဘူးဆိုတော့စိတ်တွေနဲ့စိတ်တွေကြားထဲမှာပဲတင်ပါဒီကိုယ့်ရဲ့ယုံကြည်မှုကိုအဆုံးရှုံးမခံဘဲနဲ့ဖြစ်အောင်လုပ်ခဲ့တာဆိုတင်ပါဒီမယုံကြည်တာတွေကိုကောင်းကောင်းသုံးတတ်တယ်ပေါ့တင်ပါဗျာတင်ပါ I already. Try it one more time. Yes, please. No. We need to brush.
For most people, they're not just going to need a teacher, they're going to need a living teacher. And they're also going to need a community of practice. Sure. Yeah, Alk, it's a stopping, and it's a not making a story about, and it means to reorient as well. So if someone was busy volunteering at the hospital in Myanmar, cleaning the bedpans and the bed sores and feeding people and cooking, Seattle's not coming up to them and saying that they need to detach. It's usually when we've created a headache in our own mind about an idea of ourselves, something that we're holding on to. Seattle says you need to detach. So, how do you detach? By practicing to do good deeds more and more with mindfulness and detachment. So get to work. And what are we doing when we're meditating? Well, we're practicing to detach. And detachment and stillness are very connected as well. If you're not still, if you're not like stilly aware, you're lost in the ego, you're lost in complicated thoughts, you can't really be aware of where your attachment or where your focus is. So Seattle emphasizes the present moment action of mindfulness, of whatever you're mindful of, detachment from that. So continuous present moment actions of detachment, of not attaching to what appears. And as we sit still and we sit in a meditation position, boy, oh boy, do we start getting some appearances that aren't intellectual, aren't story-based, aren't ego-based, but are actually like the physical sensations in our body that are very intense, like pain. So we learn to detach from pain. Seattle teaches to detach from sleep, to detach from hunger. And this all helps to allow us to detach from our ideas about ourselves, especially when we take refuge or we are a part of a community, because we can see that it's not all about us. It's not just about ourselves. So by doing that, by helping others, by serving others, we can easily detach from ourselves. But you will get better effect, or you will get more blessings, Cedar, if you're volunteering concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. If you're just volunteering at the animal shelter, yeah, you're doing good deeds. You're volunteering while you're surrounded by people that are on parole or people that are doing community service because of some kind of subtle crimes that they did while they're, addicted to marijuana or God knows what. So yeah, it's good. You're practicing generosity. You're doing good deeds. But as you get a little bit more position of free will and control and understanding, you now have a capacity and a responsibility to raise it up a level, right? So the old saying, with great power becomes great responsibility. With more understanding becomes more responsibility. Otherwise, you won't be able to keep advancing. You'll waste a lot of time unnecessarily. And that's the trap that so many Western spiritual seekers fall into with like modern non-duality and people like Angelo Delulu, is that they don't have the experience basis to level up or to see that Angelo is not a particularly advanced teacher. So for them, he is. And why I critique or why I come so hard at Angelo Delulu is because he presents spirituality as something that he, as a Buddha that created the universe, came up with. So you don't need to look outside of Angelo Delulu for training, for community, for principles and practices, for teachings, but you do, actually. Angelo Delulu is quite a low-level teacher compared to somebody like Sayadaw Ashinotamatara, and many other teachers. Sure, definitely, Cedar, definitely. That's a great way to start. And what you could do, Cedar, is you could use something like Google Maps to find Buddhist temples in your area, and you could start reaching out to them. Maybe they have a website, maybe they have a phone number, and say, hey, I'm kind of a Buddhist, I'm practicing meditation, I'm looking for an opportunity to volunteer and help out. Just see if something comes up, see if there's an avenue. And I can help you with that as well if it gets to that point. Enlightenment is not about Buddhism, but Buddhism is specifically about enlightenment, and it's the most solid tradition that's ever existed in humanity that's specifically about enlightenment. Okay? So we can say the Buddha is not a Buddhist, right? But Buddhism is all about that. So that's why I recommend Buddhist temples, because you're more likely to get lucky or get blessed or find something that's a little bit closer to the truth than if you're looking around at, Hindu temples or spiritual centers or just meditation centers, etc. All right, Yo Yi says, when you say people have a spiritual ego, what do you mean, and how can someone differentiate between spirituality, awareness, etc., and fake ego spirituality? Well, there's too much ego in the question, first of all. So you're kind of, you're walking in front of the horse, asking how you can ride in the chariot a little bit better. Well, first of all, don't stand in front of a horse. You're going to get run over. But one of the things that I'm talking about is like when we think that we're enlightened, but we're not. Right? We're holding on to this self idea about our status, our position, our understanding, when that's precisely what we should be detaching from actively. The active process of being aware and not attaching. This is not very good for commercialization or doing sales pitches or presenting yourself, trying to get a job, trying to make money, trying to scam people, trying to manipulate people, because it kind of puts people into a neutral position. Because this guy doesn't seem to actually really be talking about anything stimulating. This guy doesn't seem to really be convinced about anything most of the time. This guy doesn't seem to be thinking about anything most of the time. So what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to think about? And we're programmed, we've been trained by the algorithms from social media over the past 10 years to look for that, right? We're looking for something to keep us hooked into. We don't value or feel the human connection of what's going on. We think that this is supposed to be like a performance or a show, and it's supposed to be done for some, I'm supposed to be operating from a place of greed, anger, or delusion. And in the times and places when I'm not operating from a place of greed, anger, and delusion, it's problematic for our seeking ego. So it puts us into this position of callousness or carelessness. And detachment is not carelessness. It's like a fullness of caring that's not attached to what appears. So like the caring of awareness or the caring of presence. So for example, like right now, I'm keeping an eye on, how many viewers do we have? I want to engage, I want to share, I want, there'd be some dynamics here, right? But like closing my eyes and focusing on my internal experience of like the pain in my legs because I'm sitting cross-legged, and then not attaching or resisting that pain and not thinking about it, just being with it. What's interesting about that? Who wants to do that? Right? But that's the process of meditation. That's the process of dismantling the ego. And that can also become very performative when you think or believe that your understanding or your experience is special. Nobody is special. I'm not special. You're not special. We can't really we can't keep track of ourselves. And this constant compulsion to judge is basically always rejecting all these different elements of life that don't fit into our compulsion of self. The way that I want it to be, the way that I think it should be. Well, what if that I is actually a false thought? What if I, self, me, I, the capacity to possess, to own, to control is a false thought? What if? And what you see a lot of these, what a lot of these non-duality teachers do is they don't have real discussions with anyone who knows about anything that is relevant to what's being focused on, that doesn't follow in line with what they're presenting. And that has nothing to do with what it's like to be a spiritual practitioner and somebody on the path and like working with a teacher. You're being challenged. Like life or death, you're being challenged. So I'm always open, not open to, hey, welcome to my podcast. So I heard you like non-duality. Yeah, I sure do. And I heard you know about it too. And you got quite a few followers. It's not like that. It's interesting, it's expansive, it's exploratory, it's the unknown, it's dynamic, it's alive. And, you get some of these modern non-duality or spiritual teachers that are like Western guys that kind of came out of the blue and might be pretty good, might be pretty advanced. But most of these people have gotten this knowledge and this technology and this training and this teaching and this transmission from people who lived radically different lives, who were sannyasins, who were yogis, who were renunciates, who devoted everything that they have to the path. And yet somehow now spirituality just becomes this kind of mentalism. It becomes this way of justifying our idea of what this is. And our position of representing truth. But truth is up for discussion. Truth is up for debate. So I'll give you an example. One of my masters is a Korean monk. He's still alive. He lives in a hermitage in South Korea as Son master, Koan master. And at one point I was sitting at the tea table with him. He was serving tea for a group of his students. And I was kind of a little bit arrogant, and I was challenging him about some things. And I was saying, hey, actually, man, I'm not attached. You're the one who's attached. I was kind of saying that, or I was saying, like, why are you saying that I'm attached? Because actually I'm not. And he did the funniest thing. He was serving tea, and out of the blue, he picked up that big glass pot of tea, and he fainted like he was going to throw it at my face. And what did I do? I flinched because I was protecting myself. And so the reason that you don't see a lot of these modern spiritual teachers, non-duality teachers, etc., having these kinds of conversations, making themselves more vulnerable, even creating more spaces that are more accessible, like a 24/7 meditation center or anything along those lines, is because unconsciously, subliminally, they are still in the process of protecting themselves, protecting their ego. Their ego may be more or less subtle than yours. You know, they may be farther on the path than you are, but it doesn't mean they're a living Buddha. It doesn't mean they are a patriarch or have dominion over their own mind. Another thing that this master said to me, he said, maybe it was another kind of Korean master, but older master, but they said, you can't be arrogant until don't ever be arrogant until all the seasons of your life are mastered. Until every single dynamic of the mind and the mental phenomena and what happens in you is mastered, is resolved, right? And so how did they go about getting to that point? By testing themselves, by testing their understanding with other masters, with other practitioners, in intensive retreats, living monastically, sacrificing, something that Angelo Delulu doesn't know anything about, sacrificing their lives so they could get to the root of the mind. So these non-duality people, most of them they're just not respectable. They're not venerable. They're not worthy of praise. They're not worthy of following. As much as you can get your teeth into the real teat of true Buddha Dharma or true spirituality, if you want to call it that. And it's very important that you do form these connections and these relationships with higher masters, because you're going to encounter all kinds of weirdness, all kinds of negativity, all kinds of strange spirits, strange experiences, strange phenomena. And if you're just taking refuge in yourself, boy, oh boy, are you going to be confused. You may get confused to the point where you're never able to come back down to a grounded position of awareness. When you take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, these very, very advanced masters, you have a place of, it's like you have your own cave. You have your cave where demons turn to peaceful benefactors. Know how to bring your mind back inside the body. To cut off thought, to cut off the world. So sitting together in that silence is what we're here to do. Knowing ourselves and knowing each other as that silence. That's where our practice is. But it's not, I don't want to confuse anybody about this. It's not about going and picking a fight with anybody. Right? They say the best way to win a fight is not to start one. The best way to kill your enemies is by making them friends. It's to listen to the wonderful music of silence and presence and being and listening, letting the heart beat, letting the lungs breathe, letting the body sit and be still, letting the mind be aware. And from my end, it is gonna be, my practice isn't performative, and I'm grateful. I have gratitude that this environment, this situation, puts me in a position, puts me in a place to practice, right? But unless I'm an arahat, unless I'm fully enlightened, there's going to be an element of that meing, or that emness, that I amness kind of. Even though I psychologically don't see this as a self or as a me, right? I'm in a natural process of disbelief as it relates to this being a real true person and a real true story. I'm in a constant natural process or unprocessing of belief in that. But there is an awareness, that I'm being seen, and that even the depth of my meditation, I guess, it should, that if people are perceptive enough, they're going to be able to feel that or sense that. And then that this character, or in this scene, there's a benefit, there's a profit to that, right? A status to that. But the meditation practice itself is dismantling all that. And that's why meditation, real meditation or wisdom-informed meditation, goes hand in hand with genuineness and authenticity and trustworthiness. So we should all aspire to embody that and connect with that and really know how to practice meditation seriously and deeply and sincerely. To find our genuineness, to find our sincerity in the practice of meditation, in the practice of mindfulness and detachment. And this is very poisonous to people's greed, anger, delusion. This is very poisonous to people's bipolar, people's depression, people's anxiety. But it's especially poisonous to selfishness. So when we practice meditation seriously, when we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, when we adopt the understanding of the importance of detachment, of generosity, this is giving a medicinal poison to this grasping mentality, this grasping idea. And that is true. If you'd like to ask a question or leave a text-to-speech comment, if you donate through that link, through Streamlabs, it will pop up on the screen and we'll all hear it. Large donations are accepted and totally unnecessary, at least for me as a receiver. For me, I'm already getting enough. I already have enough. But a little more wouldn't hurt, but it's not necessary. There's a lot of gratitude here to have this space, to have this reasoning, to have this scene, to practice, to give me, this body, this mind, a reason to practice. Yeah, so if you donate on Streamlabs, that link right there, Cedar, it's a very reliable, safe website. 100% of the donation goes to me. You can donate as much as you'd like to, as much or as little as you'd like to. And if you donate through YouTube directly, they can take a lot of fees, up to 50% actually, they can take from what people donate. So please do feel free to use that link, streamlabs.com/monklife. Because whatever success that you're going to be able to make in meditation is always going to be more worthwhile than money. Always. Traditionally, when we come to the temple, so for Buddhist people, when they come to the temple, they come to give. They come to donate. They come to offer. They come to make merit through generosity, through giving, through self-sacrifice. Food, fruits, money, items, necessary items, things like that, volunteering. Because we have to empty our cup in some way. We know how to meditate. If we know how to be a yogi, a practitioner, we know how to empty our cup. We know how to drain out this grasping, this contrivance of ego and self, right? This fullness of our mind, full of shit. But a cup that's full can't receive any more. So you have to empty your cup. You have to give. You have to listen. You have to practice. Be quiet and listen. Be quiet and meditate. Instead of asking about how you can meditate more later, meditate more now. That's what this space is for. It's not for your ego. It's not for your identity. It's for your practice. It's for your generosity. It's for your self-sacrifice.
Anonymous donated $35.27.
Okay, thank you, Anonymous. Okay, any questions about Buddhism, meditation, Zen? Enlightenment? Any questions or sharing experience? And you'll find tons and tons and tons of, I mean, there's different levels and layers of it, but there are so many people out there, Western people, that think that they're enlightened or think that they understand something profound about the nature of reality that absolutely have no idea about any of that kind of stuff. It's very, very common. And like at the lowest layer, you have people that are like think that they were previously aliens, and that's also combined with like spiritual enlightenment. And then you have people that read some Tao Te Ching, they think they're enlightened. Then you have the non-duality people that think they're enlightened. And 99% of these people are not enlightened and don't have particularly much insight or understanding about this technology that's been passed down from our ancestors, from lineages, from traditions for thousands and thousands of years. The preeminent of which, when it comes to enlightenment and understanding the science of the mind that is in relationship with enlightenment, is Buddhism. As for Advaita Vedanta or the different schools of Hinduism, etc., these are fractured schools of philosophy, spirituality, religion, etc., that are not congruous or really maintaining one fundamental system or premise of thought or premise of technology to get to what's called enlightenment. And if you're using Hinduism in the sense that the British were using it, I think it's actually the British that kind of coined that term. Buddhism might as well be a branch of Hinduism, and in that way, it is the most specific, most well-studied, well-practiced, well-researched, and well-developed tradition of spirituality that's ever existed. So anybody that's really interested in non-duality or enlightenment, it's important to start to understand about Buddhism. It's very important. It's very essential. All right, everybody, let's get some big W's in the chat for Tortoise Non-Duality. Welcome in, Tortoise Non-Duality. We're very happy to have you here. I see you've got a channel and you're sharing some different things, so that's great. And I guess you came across the channel from the non-duality from the video on Angelo DeLulu. I'm guessing that's how you came across the channel. So we have fun here. We dip into non-duality. We dip into the Buddhist enlightenment, stages of enlightenment, and all of that is talked about and explored from my position of being a Buddhist monk for 8 years, and sacrificing my entire adult life for the path of awakening, the path of realization, and the path of enlightenment. So it's very technical. It's not something to talk about loosely or vaguely. And it's difficult. It's challenging. Just like if you were to begin to approach quantum mechanics, you were to begin to approach Kantian philosophy or Jungian philosophy, you were to begin to approach some kind of Hindu philosophical system or Buddhist philosophical system, how much more so is the refinement, the subtlety, the specificism the case when you're propositioning to be confronting the nature of reality or the nature of the mind? Well, Tortoise, if you saw, and anybody here who uses Reddit, I don't know if anybody here has a Reddit account, but on Reddit, apparently there's a Advaita Vedanta subreddit. So if you could go to that Advaita Vedanta subreddit and upvote the video that was posted there of our video, our takedown on Angelo Delulu, and please do upvote the comments in that subreddit post as well, so we can get some more non-duality people around here. So I hope you were able to hear me clearly, but if you have a Reddit account, you use Reddit, please go to the Advaita Vedanta subreddit, and you should scroll down and you should see a video of our channel and our community that's posted there. So please do go there and upvote that and upvote the comments that are there. Support that post. And basically this stillness, or this awareness, this presence, gives us a chance to not be controlled by compulsion and to be all the more aware of compulsion taking place. Like, I feel tired, I feel hungry, I feel thirsty, I feel this way, I feel that way. Well, if you're constantly involved in things and in motion, that will be happening, but you won't really have the space or the basis of awareness and presence to view that, to be aware of that, right? And then when you are aware of that, you can be unconditioned by it. You can use that point or that side effect of conditioning to actually bring you back to that stillness, that awareness, that presence, that balance. And on a deeper level, this freedom from being right, this freedom from being correct. As much as you think you're right, you're wrong. If you go to a restaurant, you take a look inside, food doesn't look good, you keep on moving, nobody's right or wrong. You come and go freely, free country, right? But as much as you take a look at something, you say, that's wrong, that's right. That's how you know that you're wrong. I'm not telling you that you're wrong, I'm just being a mirror for that fundamental fact. So as much as you think that you could be right and that someone else could be wrong, you don't understand non-duality. You don't know how to practice non-duality. You don't understand the basic premises of what something like non-duality is pointing to or referring to. And we have to remember as well that the best non-duality teachers throughout the past 1,000 plus years, 2,000 plus years, have been Buddhist non-duality teachers. We may have to remember that. We may have to be mindful about that. Zen, Chan, Dzogchen, any school of Buddhism. You know, I mean, you get some wiggle room with the Pure Land or various traditions of Theravada, especially dhyana fixated traditions of Theravada. But in terms of non-duality, referencing the original nature or the unconditioned, Buddhism's best at that. You won't find higher non-duality teachings in any other tradition besides Buddhism. Buddhism, by definition, has the highest quality of non-duality teachings, the highest quality of non-duality teachers, and the most proven efficacy of a language model, if you're approaching that, of non-duality. And we could have a discussion about that, but the basis of the idea that non-duality stands kind of on the outskirts or somehow in contrast to like fundamental deep Buddhism is absolutely misinformed and ridiculous. People don't want to be challenged. And you can be sure if you don't want to be challenged, so you say something's right, you say something's wrong, you don't understand non-duality. And that's one of the biggest problems in the modern non-duality space, is that people don't want to be challenged. And they want to base their positions on belief and faith and word games. That's not how it works. Non-duality is not a large language model. Certainly seems like a small language model when you look at most of the modern non-duality teachers that you'll find on YouTube. Not just a matter of debates, but a willingness to be challenged, right? A willingness to calm down, a willingness to be generous. A willingness to work with what's given, not hold on to some vague ideal as an absolute truth. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
I've come to town from a long journey, looking to start a meditation center here in these parts. Would you be able to assist me? Where are you running to, sir? Slow down.
What?
Come over
What's
here.
Up,
I'm
what's up?
just running.
What's up?
I come
What's up?
from the far lands, quite a distant place.
Yep.
I'm here to start a meditation center, and I was looking for
Alright,
some
let's start a
kind folks that would like to practice meditation and learn about the great way of the Lord Buddha.
You're one of those
No
Chinamen.
thanks.
I can't. Well, it's an interesting story. If you have the time, I'll tell it to you.
Yep. I mean,
I went to the China lands when I was a young child and grew up with the monks, with the great Buddhist monks.
Yep.
And at a certain point, I hit my head on a metal cylinder. And I had lost the ability to speak Chinese. So they requested me to come back to my country over here and start a meditation center for young little lasses like you.
I'm not a young little lass like me, all right? The fuck?
She's a woman.
Really? You have really great observation skills.
Thank you.
I thought this was the Wild Wild West.
It is. Look, he's carrying a horse.
Yeah, it is.
Sounds to me like some kind of... You heard what I said.
Some kind of what?
You heard what I said.
I didn't hear what you said.
You're gonna hear it.
What you saying to me?
He said you gonna hear that shit.
Don't shoot each other.
Better watch yourself.
He said he gonna
Excuse
fuck you
me,
up.
is there a lawman in this area? I thought I was in the Wild Wild West. I feel like I've gone through a time skip of sorts into some juvenilistic criminal landscape. I'm a meditator, sir. I'm a Buddhist, sir.
Whoop
We
his
all
ass.
are criminals now.
Has anyone seen James?
James.
Oh, put me down right now.
This is not the Wild Wild West.
Like
this is a
something
bunch
like
of wild
But with a white
nonsense.
mask.
Can you push this guy over? He's
Just
been carrying me for ages.
Fuck.
Guy with the yellow,
Like your
can you
outfit, girl.
can you push this guy over? He's been carrying me for like 10 minutes, bro. Yes, he's correct. Don't do this ever again. Yeah, kill him, mate. Kill him.
I'm not going to kill him. I'm just going to dismiss him. Put that man down.
Now you can kill him.
He's mine now. Man for sale. Man for sale.
Yeah, I'm killing you. I'm killing you.
Man for sale.
This guy can die as well. He's been carrying me for fucking 10 years. Mate, nice aim.
Holy shit.
Oh, mind your own business, bro. Mum's life, mind your own business, mate.
Would anyone like to learn how to meditate?
Yeah, fuck it. Come on, let's do it.
Would you happen to have a bit of change, a small donation for the meditation class?
How much is the meditation class?
It's donation basis, sir. It's totally up to
Fuck
you.
that prick, go.
Okay. I got a donation. But for me to give you a donation, you got to get all 3 of these to meditate with us. You got to get all of them to meditate with us, and I give you a donation.
I'm a man of God. The only thing I need is a bullet and my God.
Last one down.
I mean, he's yet to say hi to me, so I don't know.
You don't let him punch on
That
you
was
like that? I
rude.
say you punch his ass back.
That was mean. Yeah, you feel bad. I know, I can tell by your mask. You feel bad. I can tell. It's okay, accidents happen.
Thank you for the donation, kind sir.
Hey, that's my damn horse.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nah, I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, I think it's his horse.
Hello, Shiva. What can I do for you?
You ready?
I don't think he likes you that much.
Ready for what?
Are you ready to go live?
I think there's people I don't see here.
Shiva, I've been speaking with my community. I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with our association. I just spoke with you when you called me last time and told you that the money obsession is not something that I dharmically align with or agree with, man. So I don't know what to tell you.
You don't have a community.
And this like real lying, like honest lying is another thing that I've had a problem with for a long time.
Yeah. Keep talking to yourself about yourself, but I'm not interested in that. So anyways, you let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go without you, and you're going to be left out.
Oh, you send me a link. My computer's crashing because Red Dead.
What is happening? And that's a mate. City prick. Mate. That's a mate. Yeah, dodging doesn't work, pal.
Got his ass. Too good at this shit, man.
What the heck? What's your problem?
Got his ass.
But his clothes sticking through?
Gosh darn
How you doing
memory.
today, sir? How you doing?
Oh.
clearly. So this is going to be the first time that we try something like that. So that is also mental is name in the unconditioned or conditioned phenomena. Because a tree. Wow, that whiteboard shows up really clearly, doesn't it? In the video. That's pretty sweet. Sending that. That's really useful. That's a good idea too. The problem chemicals is that ChatGPT can be so like sycophantic. I think that's actually the right word for it. So you have to approach it in a way that makes sure that it's not being sycophantic with you. Meaning like just telling you what you want to hear, putting a positive spin on it. So that's going to be a great upload and premiere. We'll do that as a premiere, Chineth. Yeah, probably Claude. That would be a good idea too. Run the whiteboard stuff through Claude is a good idea. Because you do want to check. We do want to see if it kind of makes sense or not. How the AI would explain it. Because the AI is better at a lot of things than we are. Especially fact checking. All right, so we need to get a little bit, we're going to be getting a little bit wet and wild, everybody. So a little bit wet and wild tonight. What do you guys say? Does that sound like a good idea? Get a little bit wet and wild? Come on, Chanath. You're already spoiling the party, huh? And make something special happen. All right, Shiva, turn on that camera. Come on, Shiva. Where are you at, buddy?